Dallas, would you do our invocation?
I'll do that. Stand, please. Our Heavenly Father, we are always thankful for the privilege and freedom to gather together and discuss the business of our citizens of this county. We're especially thankful this day for the safety you've given us through the storms and through protection of our first responders and those that provided the services to help us. We thank you for them. Thank you for this time. We pray that you'll give us wisdom and guide us, help us to make decisions that are according to your will and will fulfill the needs of our citizens. And I ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I would, and I'll make this in form of a motion that we accept the agenda with the following changes. That items number 12 and 14 be deleted. That items number 5 and 6 be tabled. That would be pending the actions we discussed yesterday. And that first item of unfinished business would be a report on the request to close Whitestone Road to large trips. That's an update on that.
Under unfinished.
Under unfinished business.
We'll make that one more.
Yes.
Okay. I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We need to approve the minutes for the special call meeting on November 6th, work session meeting minutes on November 8th, executive session meeting minutes on November 9th, and the regular meeting minutes on November 9th. Are there any changes or corrections to those minutes?
I have none.
If not, I would make a motion that those minutes be approved as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Sandy, you want to give us a financial statement?
This is the financial report for November 30th. Each department should be at 92% of their budget used. Departments over budget at November 30th are Board of Equalization at 117%, Sheriff's Office at 98%, Detention Center at 98%, Coroner 108%, EMA 110%. On EMA though, 11,000 of their expenditures was reimbursed by grants, and their revenue is at 227%, so that should offset. Fire and Rescue 96%, Planning and Zoning 95%, and 911 Dispatch at 97%. Overall, we are at 100% of the total revenue budget received and 92% of the total expenditure budget used. Total revenue received to date, $20,067,853. Total expenditures to date, $18,489,725.
Any questions or comments on the financial statement?
What's the expectations of going over the 2159,700 once it's the year is up and the final bills? Will this balance out, or will there be some budget adjustments next year to this? I mean, do you expect this to balance out?
We expect that we will be making some budget adjustments, but we will not be raising the bottom line to the budgets. It'll balance out.
Okay. Moving
We're just
from
moving some stuff
from a
around.
department that's over and adjusting in, okay, I understand. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you.
Under unfinished business, I'd like to give sort of an update on a discussion and request that we had over a couple of months. It was requested that we restrict large truck traffic on Whitestone Road and essentially not allow it. That road has been determined that it can handle the load and it has the necessary width to be safe. But I did want to say that I spoke with the plant manager over there just to so that we could be proactive in having these big truckers understand that they need to drive safely and slow down. They were very cooperative. They're going to speak with each of the truckers and pass that on to them that they would like for them to slow down and be sure they do not exceed the speed limit and drive safely. So hopefully that will be of some benefit in that particular location. Any questions or comments on that? Okay, if not, discussion, possible action of leasing the Watkins house. I would say that at this point we would be ready to go forward with a proposed lease. I don't think that the chamber is really interested in it until early spring, but we need to go ahead and I think get the mechanics in motion. So I would make a motion that we proceed with a proposed lease for the Watkins house, single tenant lease to the Chamber of Commerce. What I guess a question that I would have would be if anybody has in mind a particular rental rate. Honestly, the amount I had in mind was probably about $1 a year.
I believe the terms we talked about, Mr. Chairman, was that the county would pay expenses for the building, upkeep, and so forth, and so BJ will continue to look after anything that occurs in that building.
Right. We will continue to maintain the building, and they would be responsible for the utilities.
And just for the public's benefit, the idea is to have a downtown welcome center and perhaps some exhibits from, just several ideas about just making better use of that building being located. It's right across the street on the square historic building that would make a great welcome center and perhaps a partial museum, display some relics from the past for Gilmer County and that sort of thing. So that's the intended use.
Yes.
So I would
Chair, is that audience allowed to ask a question?
As soon as we get a second.
Okay.
If we get a second.
You have a second.
Okay. Yes.
Are you displacing?
But the audience must come up to the podium and state their name.
Yes, sir. Brian.
Brian, at least step in front of the camera when you ask your question. Okay, yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Don Murray. Will this facility you're putting the chamber in, is that going to displace another county office or operation?
The office that was there was planning and zoning. It has already been moved into the old bank building right there on the roundabout.
Okay.
And the criminal investigation division of the sheriff's office that was in that building has been relocated to the DOT building that they were kind enough to give to the county.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Okay, any other questions or comments?
So this will entail producing a lease agreement and so forth, and then we'll review it and approve it. And
Right. All in favor?
Aye.
At this time, we would like to present a plaque to a gentleman that has served this county very well for a number of years at the airport, Mr. Paul Lehman. And I have some comments that I would like to read here very briefly. We want to express our appreciation for your many years of service to the citizens of Gilmer County as a member and chairman of the Gilmer County Airport Advisory Board. Thank you for sharing your time, energy, and expertise to help make the Gilmer County Airport a facility of which we can all be proud. Under your leadership, the airport has grown from a single rundown shack to a thriving, functional airport. Improvements have included improving and updating the runway, the construction of new modern hangars and FBO facilities, and numerous other facility upgrades. You've led the advisory board through challenging times and through difficult decisions, always putting the needs of the citizens of Gilmer County first, and providing sage, thoughtful advice to the Board of Commissioners. Please accept our sincere thanks for your service. Your work has ensured the future of the Gilmer County Airport, and your informed counsel will be missed. We wish you and Nancy the best in your future endeavors. Thank you so much for all that you've done for us.
We need some happy trails music, I think. Paul and Nancy. I hope they enjoy their trip.
Wildly understood.
Yeah.
So,
You're not going to sing, are you?
No, no.
Good.
okay. Resolution on bids for the TAN and banking services for 2018. Sandy, you want to sort of lead us through that? Yeah, microphone.
That's right.
No.
Do you want me to run down the list of all 4 bids that we received?
Do we really have to do that, David, or can we just talk about who's the lowest and who we want to accept?
The rest of the information is available to the public, should you want to make a request. So just the one if y'all can identify collectively who you feel like is the lowest, absolutely, let's talk about that.
Okay.
I would ask Sandy to be sure we're looking at tax exempt
Yes.
TAM note rather than the exempt, because we have both on our.
Right. We are looking at tax exempt.
Okay.
The lowest tax exempt variable rate was from South State Bank, which is Park Sterling Bank, was 1.696%, and that's a variable rate. The lowest fixed rate that we received was at Regions Bank, and it was 1.93%.
Sandy, correct me if I'm wrong, but neither one of those had any conditions about requiring the transfer of the other accounts or any of those other, there were no strings.
Right.
Okay.
And, you know, obviously preferred, but not required.
Yes.
So,
Given the expectation for interest hikes over the next year, I personally think that we would be better off with the fixed rate at a slightly higher figure for right now, but I really believe that by the time we get to the end of the year, that's going to be a better rate for us.
So we're anticipating August, September timeframe. So that's 8 or 9 months out, and does appear to be upward pressure on interest rates.
Right.
So I would agree with you, Mr. Chairman.
It wouldn't have to be, though, over a 0.5% increase, would it not, to make that fixed rate
It's
comparable? Or am I
About
missing?
0.25%.
What was the variable number?
1.696.
1.696 was the variable rate, and 1.93 is the fixed rate.
So a couple rate increases could wipe out.
Yeah, and if you notice that 1.696 is up from just
1.53.
1.53 originally.
The first week of November, it went up that much.
Right. No, I agree. Just wanted to be clear. I think the fixed rate is a good number to go with.
Any comments or suggestions regarding the awarding of the 10 for 2018? If not, I would make a motion that it be awarded to South State Bank. I'm sorry.
That would be Regions Bank.
Yeah, this is the one that came back separately with.
Yeah, Regions.
Yeah,
was
Regions.
93.
So, okay. Sandy, tell me what bank I want to make a motion.
Regions, you want,
Regions.
if you want the fixed
Because this-
1.93%, you want
okay.
Regions.
This was an afterthought sort of thing here.
Right.
It's not showing the bank.
Right.
Okay, so Regions, I would make a motion that we accept the bid from Regions Bank for our 2018 10.
I'll second that.
The fixed rate.
The fixed rate.
So they did make 2.
Yes, fixed rate. And
My second.
Any comments or questions regarding that? If not, all in favor? Aye. The next will be for the awarding of the banking deposits, banking accounts.
We had 5 banks that bid. The first one was United Community Bank, estimated monthly service charges $50, interest rate of 0.65%. Regions Bank was an estimated monthly service charge of $371 with 0.25% interest rate. Bank of the Ozarks, no service charges with a 0.75% interest rate, but that interest would be used to offset those service charges. Park Sterling Bank was no monthly service charges, 0.15% on the interest rate. And then Chase was no service charges and 0.75% on the interest rate. And there again, that interest would be used to offset the service charges.
And we're currently with United
Yes.
Community Bank.
Well, Regions Bank and Bank of the Ozarks are essentially out of the picture because their offer was, their bid was contingent on also winning the TAN bid. Of the remaining 3, given the offer and also considering the expense of making the change, it would be my opinion that we should just continue with United Community Bank.
I'd like to make that in the form of a motion.
I will make that in the form of a motion.
I'll second.
Any questions or comments regarding the appointment of financial accounts? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next is the appointment of 2 members to the Gilmer Pickens Joint Development Authority Board. The candidates right now are Lex Rainey and Don Callahan. Both of those folks are willing to continue to serve. Does anybody have any other candidates that they'd like to put forward? If not, I would make a motion that we appoint Lex Rainey and Don Callahan to the Gilmer Pickens Joint Development Authority Board.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
Do you know the term on those? I don't, it was like 6 years, I think. Was it 4?
I'm pretty sure it's 4.
I'm not sure. That's okay.
I'm not sure, but I think 4.
All right.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Appointment of 2 new members to the, well, actually not new members, to the Planning Commission Board. This would be Jim DuPont and Alan Davenport are the 2 candidates. Their terms are expiring and they are willing to continue to serve. Y'all have any other candidates?
No.
No, I'll make a motion that we reappoint Jim DuPont and Alan Davenport.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution on a bid for emulsion for 2018. You want to address that for us real quick?
If you gentlemen will recall, when we bid the what we call commodities that we use throughout the year, the emulsion bids, we only had 1 bidder to submit, and the other vendor claimed that he did not receive notification, and so we rebid during the month. You have a bid tabulation sheet in front of you with Ergon Asphalt Emulsions, who is our current vendor, and Hudson Materials out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. And the 2 emulsions that we use in our paving, gentlemen, are the CRS 2L or latex and the CRS 2H. The Ergon bid was $2.30 a gallon for the CRS 2L and $1.85 for the CRS 2H. Hudson Materials bid for the same products was $2.06 for the CRS 2L or latex modified and $1.72. So Hudson Materials is the low bidder. And I will say that Hudson Materials, we have a history with them. They were our vendor up until 3 or 4 years ago. And it appears that they've gotten the message and now got their heart right, so to speak.
I would move that we award the emulsion bid to Hudson Materials.
And that will begin January 1st, 2018.
Yes. I'll second that. Any questions or comments regarding the awarding of this bid? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that is delivered to Gilmer County, that is including shipping, transport.
Resolution designating a county legislative coordinator. This is something of a formality. This is not a really big job in terms of time commitment and so forth. The candidate that I have for now on this is Tony Pritchett. Does anyone have any other candidates? Okay. Then I would make a motion that we appoint Tony Pritchett as the county legislative coordinator.
A second.
Any comment or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion of the 2018 budget. Was there questions regarding that? I know, Dennis, you've got a question.
I would like to, we had long, hard discussions yesterday, and I won't go through any of that, but one thing I did see that I would like to bring up or talk about tonight, just one thing. We talked about the $1.5 million that we collect for debt service, and our budget currently shows, our budget, we set it at $1.7 million. Today, Sandy went back and pulled out the evaluation of our tax digest, which shows that we, this year, not next year, but this year, are expected to bring in $1,846,456. And that's not discounting the 2% that we lose. So there's 90% of it, 98% of that I think would be a pretty good number for next year, since I don't think our digest will go down. This interest, this $1.5 million won't change. I think we could add an extra $100,000 to our revenue budget for 2018 on this basis, if I've gotten the numbers clear to you. That if we use the 98% number, we would still come in at $1,809,000.
I do have one thing, since I looked at this after we.
Okay.
Actually, it's correct to say that we're projecting 1.7 million, but to be more specific, we're projecting 1.791.
Which I think, Charlie, includes the rental on Dalton Estate.
Now that should be the number right up above, shouldn't it?
Which I think is 91,000.
Yeah.
The 1.791 does include all.
It does include that, yeah, okay.
And that's what I was using.
So
1.7 only.
Yeah, so my question is,
So
Yeah.
Sandy, your figures for this year, does that include Dalton?
Well, of the 1.791, 1.7 of that is the projected 1.5 million.
and 1.846 is what Dallas is referring to as the stated
This
amount that we
digest,
should receive.
the digest number does not include Dalton Estate.
Right.
The 1.846 does not include
Does not.
Dalton Strait. I want to be clear on that.
Right, right.
That is just the projected.
Yes.
That's the estimated tax levy.
And that's it.
1.5.
And that's at 100%.
Right.
Okay.
98%
So-
will be about 1.8.
Okay. And is that what you're?
Now, I have
suggesting is
1,809,000, yeah, at the 98% number.
I don't have a problem doing
Now, I would like to further suggest that we take, this will be a capital
Yes.
figure. I would like, we can put that into a contingency, or I personally would like to add that $100,000 to the public works budget for capital investments there. That would be my personal preference.
I'm still of the opinion that since we have a bridge that's been out for 9 months or so, it should go there until we nail down alternative financing.
And I can accept that, Travis. Not my preference, first preference, but that's okay.
Now, when that money that's being pursued comes through, certainly,
Yes.
I would agree with you.
Yeah.
So initially then, we could put it into the current 250,000 for,
That's correct.
well, wait a minute.
Well, we actually have,
Well,
I
yeah.
think, we could put it into the 250 for the lower parquet that we now have. Is that what you're saying, Travis?
It is.
Yeah.
We can do that.
That's a $1.2 million project, and we don't really have funding set aside for it.
I know.
And we hope to get state funds, but we don't know that we will.
I know. Good.
Okay,
I'll
so,
let me make a motion and then,
Yeah.
let me make a motion that we put 100,000 additional dollars into the Lower Cartacay Bridge Fund, which currently is 250,000, it will become 350,000.
and as part of that motion, then we had 100,000 to
Balance it.
balance it in.
On the revenue side.
Yes.
And we all understand that if we
Yes.
secure financing for that, then we'll certainly
That will
free it up.
become available for moving. Yes, I'm agreeing, I'm okay. That's my motion.
Now, yesterday, before we vote on that, yesterday you talked about an additional $100,000 on just the property tax revenue.
That was
Is that an accurate figure, Sandy? Have you had a chance to? We added 100,000 yesterday to that.
On the 1.5 that we've just been discussing?
No, just on
No, the general fund for property
Oh,
tax.
yes,
You feel like that's a good figure?
Yes.
You had a chance to review it?
yes, I'm comfortable with that.
Okay, all right.
And I'm comfortable
Do we-
with it as long as we're putting it in.
Contingency.
Yeah, yeah, we're putting that, do we need to make that motion too, for both of these?
Yeah.
Because we
We
didn't.
do, because
we
we
didn't
did
vote on
not,
it yesterday.
we did not.
Okay, let me amend my motion to also include an additional $100,000 from real property tax revenue and put that into the contingency for the general fund.
So one of these is on the capital side and
That's
one
correct.
is on the M&O side.
That's correct.
We might as well take care of both at the same time.
Yes.
Any questions or comments on the proposed changes to the proposed budget?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
It may just be housekeeping, and Sandy may have told me this, and I've slept since then. Why is the airport under housing and development and not under public works?
Before we get to that, Jim, before we get to that, we've got a motion on the table.
I apologize.
Yes, sir. Any questions or comments on the motion at hand? If not, all in favor?
Oh, I didn't hear a second.
So we need a second.
Yeah, we need a second.
Oh, I thought we had a second.
Second.
Okay. Now, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Jim?
I think she was about to answer me, but
Because airports fall under housing and development per the VCA, the Uniform Charter Account,
I see. Okay, all right.
for reporting purposes.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, can I make one other comment only?
Yes, sir.
Brief as I can be. We had a lot of discussion yesterday in terms of public safety and public works and that, and I would like to provide one piece of information that I think clarifies some misinformation that I felt was in yesterday's discussion. And you all are welcome to have these. These are a graph of the county revenues and the the expenditures over the last 10 or 13 years, I think it actually is, relative to public works, which is road and bridge and solid waste and that versus, and included here is in the red is a picture of the public safety budgets for each of these years, and then the green lines happen to show the total budget for that particular year. The only comment I would make out of this graph is that for the last 5 years, our county budget has grown. You can see that on the right-hand side. Actually, probably 6 years. And the budget for the public safety has increased every year, and there was some discussion that we were cutting the public safety. And that's just, we're not cutting the budget for the public safety. And the bottom line, or the orange line there, is for the public works, which is road and bridges. And those are just numbers that I pulled out of the data that Sandy has, and just wanted to point that out, that we are in fact, increasing public safety money every year, and have been for all the time that I've been a commissioner, and before that even. And we, slight improvement, although not much, on the public works. Fairly flat in reality, even as our budget total has grown in the last 6 years. So this is just a graphic example of where we're at. That's really all I wanted to express.
And this is the M&O side, am I right?
This is the M&O general fund only.
Yeah.
Does not include the capital. That's
I
correct.
think if you graph the capital, you would see the increased expenditures in road department.
There is
Public works.
significant, and I think I wrote that down, but I didn't have that. The capital is a different number and is not represented here.
Right.
That's true. Yes. So that's all I want to do is to pass that information out.
And it's nice,
Mr. Chairman.
nice Christmas colors too on it.
That was on purpose, but that's okay.
Thank you, Dallas.
I have no other comments on the budget. Although, I will say one more thing. As usual, politician. I really had 3 goals, to be honest with you, on what I wanted to do for this budget. One, I wanted some reserves built up that we have never had for this county that I know of. I think my number in my head was $500,000. I believe if we had up all our reserves, we're above that in this budget. Number 2, I wanted to be sure that our minimum wage figures were better than they are. They were below $9, and I thought that was unacceptable. And Charlie, I believe you worked really hard to move that minimum number up on those places that we needed to do that, and I thank you for that.
Thanks, sir.
Very much so. And the third thing was that I wanted to be sure that we continue to increase our roads and bridges budget, because I just feel like that is one of the bigger problems that we're facing in this county, and we need to address that. It's an infrastructure problem that everybody in the country, whether it's federal, state, county, cities, we all have that problem of aging infrastructure, and we need to address it, and we've done that here. So I feel like this budget has met my basic goals, and I appreciate your work on it, Charlie, and Travis too, and Sandy.
Sandy,
Yeah, very much.
Okay, thank you, Dallas. Next item is a resolution of an appointment of an additional at-large member to the JDA Advisory Board. I think this was not. I'm not going to turn this over to you.
The Greater Gilmer Joint Development Authority Board has 7 members. 2 of those members are assigned by each of the 3 government entities, Gilmer County, East LJ, and LJ, and it leaves 1 at-large member. And that at-large member, a recommendation is made by the other 6 appointed board members and then approved by the 3 government entities. And so Penelope Marshall is serving in that position now. She would like to continue, and we're very supportive of her continuing, so I would put forth her name. As it turns out, this should have been done 1 year ago. She has served 1 year beyond her term, and it was just some mix-up. So she will be appointed to fill 3 remaining years of a 4-year term. And so I'll make that formal motion.
I will second that motion. Any questions or comments on that? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Final decision of approval by the Gilmer County Board of Commissioners of the recommendation by the Gilmer County Planning Commission approving the application for amendment to Gilmer County Land Use Zoning District map. Randolph, is it Gents? Gents, all right. From R1 residential low density to A1 agricultural. As I understand it, this is in order to combine it with another parcel that's already A1, is that right? Okay.
This one seemed pretty cut and dry, Shannon.
Yeah. I'm fine with it.
looking to approve it.
I'll second.
Okay, any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Appointment of a member to the Northwest Georgia Region 1 Council. This is Emergency Medical Services Council.
Correct.
And currently, Ms. Kathy Green is serving in that capacity and is willing to continue there. And in fact, they have requested that she specifically be reappointed to that position. So, unless y'all have any other candidates.
I'll make a motion that we approve Mrs. Green for a 2-year term to the Northwest Georgia Region 1 Emergency Medical Services Council.
Any questions or comments on that? I'll second it, I think we. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Citizens wishing to speak. So, anybody that wants to speak on any topic, except reconditioning bathrooms. We don't speak on that topic here, Don. Or remodeling, I should say. All right. Okay. If there is no one wishing to speak, then I would make a motion that we go into executive session with no action anticipated. No. There may be some action anticipated. No.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.